Hello friends, currently queuing for some Battlegrounds here, and still in the midst of this quarantine. I thought I would do some recording. Kind of wanted to focus a bit on playing some Battlegrounds, but doing a bit more of an in-depth explanation of what I'm trying to do. Sitting at just under 9k at the moment, so hopefully I've got some advice that you can take advantage of. Some interesting choices here. I think AFK, maybe Alex Straza. I think all of these heroes are pretty much on that same kind of level, but I'll choose AFK here. I think AFK still very strong, even though we're not choosing a tier 4 and a tier 3 unit. We can get some good combinations. And immediately, I guess something to talk about if you haven't played a lot of AFK is definitely worth still paying attention to the minions that you get on board. We want to try to find a token generator. This is pretty useful because it allows us to, when we do get our first turn of buying, we'll have 5 gold. We can pick up this Murloc Tidehunter rather, sell the token and still be able to level up on 3. Other than that, as far as AFK goes, stuff that we're looking for, I like a Hangry Dragon, also the brand new Reflecto bot. It's going to be a nice one to get. However, at tier 3 we do also find quite a lot of the kind of awkward support minions. We find things like Houndmaster, these buffing type minions, as well as things like Soul Juggler, which can be a bit of an awkward pick. Obviously, a lot of potential to go right, but also a bit of potential to go wrong. I might just turn these game sounds up. Just a smidge for y'all. Hopefully it's not too obnoxious.
I think you can win this thing.
Alright. Now we get to play the video game.
I've got some fresh recruits for you.
Well, there's a Hangry Dragon. Like that one. Ink Gang Boss could have been alright as well. Let's see. Crowd favorite. Does become a 5/5. Bronze Warden's very good though. I'm going to go for the crowd favorite here.
That one might make all the difference.
As far as the Bronze Dragon versus crowd favorite, I think it's pretty close. Crowd favorite this early can certainly rack up some serious stats. Sometimes that's okay. The key thing here is this Hangry Dragon though. We can really leverage that AFK is just very powerful in these next couple of turns. So hopefully get a 8/8, maybe a 10/10 Hangry Dragon, which might just be able to snowball the rest of the game. Some not great choices here. Kind of tempting to maybe go for a reroll. Maybe we'll hedge and take this Wax Rider. And then I'll take the Glyph Guardian. I'm not a big fan of Glyph Guardian. Find that this card, this creature very often doesn't scale very well. And I'd almost recommend to everyone, like, if you can stay away from this card, definitely do.
I think you can win this thing.
Also, making sure that we position things so that we're likely to, firstly, get the attack off with the Glyph Guardian, because 2/4 Glyph Guardian's pretty bad. But also, just position things to get as many buffs off. So, on the Togwaggle, Togwaggle to perish. Okay. Close there. We do want wins. We don't want draws. The Hungry Dragon in play.
Your minions really pulled their weight.
So up against Bartendotron. The question is, do we want to buy here, or do we want to sneaky kind of level up? I think we'll try and stay strong. We'll try and make sure that our Hungry Dragon is getting nice and big. Ooh. Yes. So, only going to buff one of these, but it does also buff our crowd favorite. Just pretty juicy. As far as positioning here goes, not super concerned about a cleave. I mean, it would have to be exactly the Hydra, and off a triple as well, which this person
Keep up the momentum, friend.
can't have. Of course, we want to avoid our Togwaggle getting cleaved, if at all possible. Yeah, so we're in a pretty good position here, but playing it safe, especially with a Hungry Dragon on board, I don't fault anyone for just trying to make sure that the dragon keeps growing. But definitely looking to level up here, just make sure, do we want any of these? Probably not. Okay, so now our opportunity to potentially take this Bronze Warden, quite good with a Togwaggle. Replicating Menace, not really looking to gear up this Zubot, so pretty easy. Bronze Warden. We might, so we could, got a couple options for this. Could place it first in case we think there's maybe a Divine Shield or something like that. Could place it here just to say have all of our dragons up front. We could also maybe place it like around here. Hope that it plays a bit of cleanup on some tokens and things like that. Especially with it being quite a small body. And that's probably about as good as the Bronze Warden gets. We'll keep it here. So where do we want to try and go? Well, to have some alright stats, we're leaving ourselves pretty open here. We don't have any potential triples, so
I think you can win.
also I think it is a plus to be open. I always find being open in these games, and when I say open, I mean we haven't really committed ourselves to a certain strategy. Like we could say our opponent here also playing kind of open, you know, they've got some good mech stuff going on here, some demon stuff. Would suck for our opponent to kind of abandon one of these strategies. Yes. Lucky us, don't have to deal with the extra deflector bot, Divine Shield. Sitting pretty. Now, I'm still pretty concerned about this. Oh my gosh, this Deathwing is tier 5 already.
Out there. Keep up the pressure.
Yikes. I think we will just keep trying to power up a little bit here. No beasts, unfortunately. Could look at picking up this old Murkai for a buff, but seems a bit weak. I will take a Shifter Xeris though. I think this stage of the game is about as late as I would want to take one. Usually you want to take shifters either as early as possible, or you want to take them when you are ahead, when you don't really need to be putting things on the board. Very scared of this Deathwing and Yogg. We're up a little bit behind the curve as far as tier goes. We're doing alright on health. This looks like a reasonable matchup for us. Depends where this goes. very good. The easy cleanup with the chunky stats in the Bronze Warden. So you probably want to look to level up this turn. Not a good one. Not really in the market. At 6, this means we can level up and reroll and pick something up. Great. Maybe we look to get out of these Glyph Guardians. Could potentially slam a Crystal Weaver down. Have one reroll. Yeah, looks like it's one of those games, folks, where we have to do a bit of work, but I like that. I'll freeze this off. Our board didn't really increase in power. Up against Illidan, who is sitting on the bottom. I haven't had a lot of luck with Illidan, personally, nor have I seen anyone do anything too interesting with it. Could be one of those sleeper heroes, like kind of like how Daryl was very early on, people not really knowing how to play it. Or, might just be bad. Only time will tell. It is quite good against our kind of slow to start Glyph Guardians. Against our single taunt. Might look to upgrade that into a Siege Breaker, or we could go for the triple. Alright. Well, we didn't get our Togwaggle murdered. Oh. Let's not speak too soon. It's a good trade for us. Getting rid of one of those pack leaders. Let me get big enough. That's a very good trade. Well, this is a bit of a toss-up. Really depends on how much work these do. Especially if we get a trade over there. Nope. So it looks like our first L in a while. But it's not too much damage. Just the 8. Still above 20. Yikes. Okay. Now, we could do the sneaky and try and grab a 6 here. I'm pretty tempted. Let's do it. Let's go for it. So we want to level up first. Zap for Reaper, Ghast Coiler. Zap could be... Zap's very good at shutting down strategies, particularly this demon board. This could be a very good way for us to not lose to a lot of those boards that will crush us. Ghast Coiler may be the best overall. I'm going to go with the Zap here. Just very concerned that this demon board is going to do a lot. That a couple of those beast boards around. I hope that Zap can do some work. We are tauntless though, which is very risky with a Wax Rider here. They have a Carno Egg to block this, and then, yeah, we miss. I would say this is a pretty, especially with our Wax Rider down, say this Soul Juggler is probably going to do a fair bit of work. So he took a pretty big risk there, and we are getting summarily punished for it. Oh. Oh. Well, that's what we should probably do. So let's pick up a beast. do I just take the demon because it's a demon? We are against Finley, so probably have an extra turn. Death Rattle's not really where it's at. This is a good mech though. What are we getting rid of? We'll get rid of this.
Down a minion and up a
Oh
go.
man, it sucks to get rid of the Bronze Warden, but I guess we're gonna rely on the Hangry Dragon for a bit longer. So we have Beast, Mech, Dragon, Murloc, and Demon. That's what we want. There's a Demon. It's a good one. We have an extra reroll, so let's just go for it. That is a pretty good Demon. Probably get rid of the crowd favorite for it. Keep the Zap around.
You're doing great out there.
But yeah, we're really trying to leverage the power of this Light Fang Enforcer. It's maybe slightly too late to be getting into it. The Light Fang Enforcer, much like the Shifter's Eris we were talking about, it's something you want to get into sooner rather than later. But given that we have two, being buffed twice is fast. So we have our Demon. Not interested in this Murloc. Sure, we'll take a Battle Cry while we're here. No. Sure, so we can sell this, play this, sell this, grab a Savannah Highway, chuck the Battle Master down. So let's switch things around here. So we'll have a Light Fang up the front in case they have a big Divine Shield taunt. And this other Light Fang we'll put here. Not an exact science to this unit placement. I think in general, if you find yourself struggling with unit placement, just try and take the time that you do have to figure it out. Factor in a couple of the simple things like cleaves. You know, if you can keep track of what your opponents have, you know, if you remember that this Yogg-Saron has a huge Divine Shield taunt, then, you know, try and factor it in. Put a chump up the front to get rid of it. We would really like to find, well, obviously a third Light Fang Enforce would be great. Would love an Annoyo module for this security rover. Yeah, this looks pretty bad. That's very, very good. We're in with a shot. Not today, but this isn't the most damage. We're still in there. This might be the kind of game where we're really just trying to claw a top 4. That's okay. You don't have to try and win every game, but I'd always recommend trying to get that top 4.
How's it going out there?
Just pick up a potential triple. Oh, never mind. Better lucky than good. So let's pick this up. Now the question is, we could actually get rid of one of these, grab a Houndmaster to get a taunt on the board. Which I'm pretty tempted. I guess we don't have to because we have the extra space. Holy Mackerel is a Murloc, but we don't have any Divine Shields. This is a real tough decision. Imp Mama, I mean, we could sell the Battle Master and go for the Imp Master. The Imp Mama can actually carry the game a little bit harder than the Battle Master. Mackerel, just for the buffs and hope that we hit something good. Oof. Look, I'm going to go for the Holy Mackerel here. Then I'm going to sell this Dragon for a Houndmaster. I just really want to put a taunt on board, even though this isn't a good one to taunt because it's
like that one either. Here's a gold for the trouble.
demons. This isn't exactly a good one to taunt because it does spit things out. And we kind of want to maximize our death rattles, but see how we go. Like I was saying, an Annoyer module is definitely worth abandoning this zap for. Never mind. Get a good attack here. We can get to pop the Ghast Coil early. Maybe. We might get there. It really depends on how much work this Imp Mama gets to do. Looking pretty good for us. Especially if this Hyena didn't attack the Imp Mama. You can get a good trade with the Hangry Dragon. Nice. Fair bit of damage as well. Ooh, tasty. Get out of the game. One step closer to top 4. And there we have it. Alright, up against Daryl, who is at the top. Let's try and find that Annoyant module. Can also look for our Savannah Hymen. I guess we'll take that.
That'll do some damage.
Alright, last chance. Ooh. Toxfin is very good with Holy Mackerel, but I think we want the Divine Shield first. Then we want the Toxfin. So we'll just have some rerolls. There's a lot of Barons out there. Wish we were in Death Rattles.
Go ahead and hire one of
But,
these recruits.
alas. Alright, let's see what happens. So, I mean, a couple of things. We'll leave this positioning like it was. In case I think there are a lot of people out there who might not have spent too much time thinking about it, but it's always good to keep in mind that if you do have a piece on the board that you are happy to sell, you can reroll down, past 3 gold. You can go to 2 and then, sell it like that. That I think is kind of the last, an important line to draw in the sand, that if you're going to sell this, you can reroll 1 deeper. And you know what? Look, if we were super desperate, would have been happy to sell this Savannah Hymen or maybe this Battle Master as well. Wow, an incredible attack. We might actually win this. Depends where this Cave Hydra goes. Oh, it's really good. Oh, that's really good this as well. Well, dude, we would need to kill both of these to... Oh no, just one. Unfortunate. But we did a fair bit of work. We got rewarded with the Lightfang Enforcers. We found a strategy, admittedly a bit too late. But we tried to do something with it, and I think we did alright. Obviously we got to explore the power of Hangry Dragon and getting some tempo early on. We also, I think we did a good job at not being baited into trying to keep up with with everyone else as far as tiers go. If you feel like you are kind of under the gun, you're getting smashed a bit, feel free to stay at low tiers. And there are plenty of heroes where staying on tier 3, tier 4 for a long time is absolutely a viable strategy, and that you don't need to necessarily go for those high tier units. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm going to play a couple more games, and yeah, we'll see if we can get any more excellent advice out there. Okay, so back here with another game. Some interesting ones here. Obviously, we talked about Illidan before. I think this is a very risky choice. Not truly figured out yet, but we could also take this just to do some research. Don't be worried about losing ladder points. You can always get them back, and it's always good to do research. I think I'm going to go with Yogg, though. Yogg represents a really good mixture of... I think Yogg's very easy to play if you're someone who doesn't consider themselves an expert. I think Yogg's also very powerful in the early game, and being powerful in the early game is certainly worth quite a lot. So with our hero power, we're always going to use our hero power turn 1. We just want to make sure that we've got a decent selection on board. Vulgar Homunculus very good, Righteous Protector very good, and even though Whelp is fine, so let's go with the Puzzle Box. Get the Righteous Protector, not the best one. Do a quick refresh. Yeah, not really interested in this, we'll let it reroll. Yogg, very early game, you want to go turn 1, hero power, almost 100% of the time. Turn 2 level up, and it sets you up for a turn 3 hero power and buying a minion, which is incredibly strong. We really shouldn't be losing a lot of health early on with Yogg, and this is going to allow us to leverage that in the later game to, as we saw in that previous game, kind of get ahead of our opponents tier wise. And it's also going to just survive a bit longer. Obviously, if you're surviving longer, you're more likely to get into those top tiers. I think that maybe those top 4 spots rather. I think that's less relevant kind of once you're in those higher MMR brackets. I think people tend to stay alive a fair bit longer, tend to know their place in the game. If they are getting beaten down, people will kind of start powering up and find some answers.
Keep up the momentum, friend.
But I think for the majority of people, Yogg, Deathwing, these kinds of powerful early game characters are a good recipe for victory. Now let's see what we get.
You're good at this.
Pretty garbage. Let's see. Well, that's a good one to drop the buff on. As far as our second minion, look, we could take a red whelp to shoot for 2. It's not too bad. Kindly Grandmother's okay. Not 100% on staying in dragons, but no, we'll go for the Kindly Grandmother. I don't think I'd fault anyone for taking the whelp here. Important thing to remember with Battlegrounds is I don't think there's always necessarily a 100% correct choice. A lot of nuance in the game. I think my idea behind not taking the whelp is that I don't particularly like Glyph Guardian. So we are going to be buying this turn. We are up against Deathwing, so very interested in this Melloc Tidecaller. Well, we get a whelp anyway.
It's good to get some minions in play.
No, pretty garbage. Okay, so I think Deathwing early on very much dependent on if they have the rat or how many rats they have as to how smashed we're going to get. I think one rat really deals with, like this half of our board.
You got this. You're way ahead.
If they don't have it, this is a bit easier. Especially that our Glyph Guardian doesn't trade with this Righteous Protector's Divine Shield. Alright, sitting pretty. So, turn 5 with Yogg. Have some options. We can either buy something here and level up. So we could buy a red whelp if we were interested in that. We might be, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to level up, going to reroll. I'm going to use our hero power. Ooh. That's really awkward. Like all of these, we'll keep these. In fact, we could potentially take one if we wanted. Could sell these two, and we could sell a kindly grandmother. Millhouse is going to be pretty strong though, so.
Oh, I've dealt with a league of evil. Terrible people. But good tippers.
You know what? Let's do it. Change my mind. We're happy to keep these two up.
Watch out.
Okay. Looks like probably a loss. Depends where this replicating menace goes. Pretty good trade. It's a pretty good trade. Also, very good, but do cop and L. So no Hangry Dragon buff for us, but very interested in trying to kind of power up these next couple of turns.
Welcome back. How's it going out there? I like where you're going with this. It's good to get some minions in play.
Interesting. I mean, we could sell and go for the puzzle box. In fact, a bit of a misplay. Last turn we should have used puzzle box, or last board, because there were two things we were going to buy on it. And I do want this Hangry Dragon. I think any time that it's 50-50 or better to get the minion you want, you should just go for it. Worst case scenario, you get the wrong one, you can just sell it. And it only costs you 1 gold, and getting a buff on something like the Bronze Warden is absolutely huge. Bronze Warden, definitely a card that benefits quite a lot from stat increases. That's a very good, good shot from the Red Whelp. Ooh, lots of stats here. This Rat Pack's quite big. Yikes. Not looking great.
Welcome back. How's it going out there?
Gah. I think we're going to need some help. Yeah, this is not feeling too good. If we can get a buff or two on these Hangry Dragons, things can turn around, but the total stats of this board is just very, very weak. I mean, you saw how thick and juicy that Rat King's board was.
Nice folks. Great hats.
So maybe our way back into the game is to high roll a 5-star, 6-star minion.
Keep up the momentum, friend.
Wowee. pretty good. Yeah. Wow. Actually got there. Alright, step 1. Get a win on the board. Step 2. This transforms into something brutal. Like
Your minions really
that.
pulled their weight.
Oh gosh. We might actually beat this Deathwing. I mean, we could take this Soul Juggler. Hold on, we take the Soul Juggler, we're on 1. We can sell these 2. It's just so awkward, our board is so full. You know what? Let's do this.
Go ahead and hire
So,
one
bit
of
of
these recruits.
a risky play here, trying to switch so quickly. But I mean, this is an alright one to do it with, especially with 2 Soul Jugglers. We'll give ourselves a reroll here. Try and hit another Imprisoner or 2. Up against Deathwing. We might be okay.
Keep up
Could
the
get some lucky
momentum, friend.
shots. Oh. Chunky Battle Master. Sucked up all our shots. We tried something. At the very least, this is... I mean, 9 is a lot of damage to take, but not as much as we potentially could have.
Oh, it's okay. We all hit some bumps now and then.
The gurgle. Well, alright. Go for a cheeky reroll first as well. Well, another Soul Juggler and a Siege Breaker, which is probably what we're going to be doing.
We'll take you down.
See what we can find. Void Lords are very good. So, the luck of the gods has
I didn't like that one either. Here's a gold
dawned
for the
upon
trouble.
us.
You down a minion and up a gold.
We'll take you down.
Bring the fight to me.
Rises.
So I have 1 Hangry Dragon up the front just to do the initial hit. So we might do it like this. There's a lot of cleaves around and we really don't want to get one of our Soul Jugglers cleaved, so the important part about this is the positioning of this Void Lord. So we really want to maximize how many tokens we get out of the Void Lord, because each one is worth quite a lot of damage to us. It's worth 9 damage. So we, on the one hand, we kind of want to clear like our Hangry Dragons out beforehand. Obviously the Imprisoner and the token that it makes. But we also don't want to make ourselves too vulnerable to like a big cleave.
Keep up the momentum.
And also the choice of, do we have Siege Breaker after so that it can buff the tokens, or before so that it dies and makes sure that we get our tokens. I think possibly what we should do is, or what we should have done is hedge and just have the 2 Hangry Dragons first and just the 1 Soul Juggler next to a taunt. This Soul Juggler. If we can kill the Baron before the Ghast Coiler, we might have a shot. Ooh. Actually, that's alright. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah, nice. Okay, feeling quite a lot better now. We will note that this Rat King did not have a cleave.
Your minions really pulled their weight.
So now... Ugh, I really wish we didn't get paired against Nosdormu. I think if we weren't paired against the person who's been crushing, might have gone for a cheeky level up here, but we might have just play it safe and try to find maybe a triple. Ooh. Defender of Argus. It's not worth 8. Maybe we can snag it. So we had the option there of maybe potentially selling one of these Hangry Dragons to get the Defender of Argus to taunt up, give ourselves some extra stats. Extra stats on a Void Lord's always good. So we've made the change with the Hangry Dragons here. See if it pays off. The other one we could do, we could also put the Imprisoner first. The Hangry Dragons after. Oh, never mind. Ugh. It's not so bad. Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. Doing some work. Very skilled on that. And we will note that the Nosdormu does have a cleave.
You're good at this.
Sneeds.
I like where you're going with this.
Not great. Was really hoping to find a Hangry Dragon there. I mean, we're ready to go. We're ready to drop some stats into play. Maybe we get rid of the Imprisoner. We can make this change before we forget. We could sell the Imprisoner to get the buffs down, but this is a... I feel like I get myself into these situations pretty often where we have the we can
You know, I think
lose some of our long-term advantage, i.e. the potential triple of these Imprisoners, for a short-term advantage, getting all these extra stats into play. It's a really hard call to make. No cleave. Actually having the Imprisoner up front, not that it mattered because we shot the Divine Shield off, but I think that's a much better play. Okay, that's just going to work out pretty well for us. Opponent's board's just very brittle. Not a lot of toughness, which is ideal for the kind of Soul Juggler compositions. Alright, we've kind of been delaying going to tier 5 for a while. I think we might have to do it here. I really want to get that triple though. A triple. Well, there we go. Alright, now before we drop this back into play, we're going to get some stats up.
I didn't like that one either. Here's a gold for the trouble.
This is only going to buff 1. I'm also going to sell this Pilot Treader just to get it out of the way. Have a reroll first. What do we got? Not much. Reroll
Hiring
again.
that minion will get you a triple.
Very good. We gotta make sure we are moving here. Ugh. Go with the Ghast Coiler. Not a lot of great options there, unfortunately. Not a lot of great options here either. I'll take the Foe Reaper and we'll just put it here. The good thing about like all these kind of tier 6 minions that are individually quite strong but we're not in the kind of synergy to make them better is they're very easy to sell. So I'm very happy to, you know, if we see a
Let's see if you can stay on top.
like a Stonehill Defender, I think that would be really good. I'd be happy to sell this and get this back in. Okay, Van Cleef also has a Hydra. This one bigger than the rest, and that's rough. If we can shoot this Mama Bear down first. Wonderful. Get the cleave. Come on. Ooh. Are we gonna die? That's the question. 5, so 13. That looks like about 13. Favorite one, 13. Well, we do get the top 4 though. We do get the top 4. So, what can we say about that match? I mean, we tried to pivot away from our strategy. We, I wouldn't say we got unlucky as far as like the Imprisoner and the Hangry Dragon. We did what we could have done. I think we did get a little bit lucky finding that, you know, the Soul Jugglers and stuff, and that we happened to pick one up with our hero power. Gave us the flexibility to go into it. I think we could probably look back at some of those turns and just say, look, we were maybe in a good enough spot that we could have leveled up. But it's always a risk, you know. Who says that if we had gone for the level up to tier 5 earlier than what we did, that we wouldn't have just gotten smashed the turn after? It's a lot easier to say in hindsight when, you know, we weren't exactly progressing our board over those couple of turns. We really just had, you know, this kind of setup, except with the 2 Hangry Dragons for like what, 3 turns. So, but yeah, we did what we could have done. We tried to do something, and you know what? We got to 4th place, which I think, based off of our start, where we weren't we weren't snowballing a lot, I think we can be happy with that. So, GG's. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of it. I think the main thing that I want to do with these kind of videos is just help you get a little bit better at Battlegrounds. And, you know, even if you disagree with some of the plays, at least it gives you another perspective on what I would have done or what someone else would have done. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to drop them down in the comments. We'll be doing a lot more streaming and a lot more Battlegrounds videos over the next week or so before the launch of Ashes of Outlands. And then we will be, hopefully, jumping into some standard action. Anyway, love you all. Ta-ta.